Danny from Novation here at Superbooth 2019, and this is our new synth, the Summit. And yeah, so the Summit is essentially two peaks and a keyboard in one unit, and it does go a little bit further than the peak with some nice synth refiners. So I'll talk about some of the changes that we've made. First of all, it's 16 voices, so if I go to a single patch here, let me find a nice single patch. We've got all 16 voices to play with, which means you're going to have loads of nice release tails, you're not going to be voice stealing as much. But we can also split these 16 voices down into two 8 parts. So if I go to a multi here, what we have is we've got a layer A and layer B, and if I play this, you can see that we've got some RGB feedback here showing you what voices are being used. So it's split straight down the middle with 8 voices per part. With these, we can have them layered, like this sound currently. We can also split the sound. So if I press split, bottom half will play part A, and then the top half part B. And we can also switch it to dual mode. So in dual mode, this is basically turning it into 2 peaks. So here I'm controlling the first peak of part A, and I can switch to part B and just play part B on its own. This is really useful if you want to like solo a layer and just hear it on its own. But we can also use the audio input on the back and have audio coming into the peak and use one layer as an audio effects processing unit. What we can do, I'll go to a single patch. We've got a lot more features on the front panel. So first of all, some nice ease of use ideas. So we've got a voice control, so you can quickly switch between mono and different types of poly patches. We've got more ARP controls. With the keyboard, we wanted to make it as playable as possible. So we've brought out ARP rhythms, octaves, and types to the front panel. On peak, we just had the gate and the tempo. Then what gets really exciting is the oscillator section. We've got a new FM part, so I'm just going to change these to sine waves. And before on peak, the FM was in the mod matrix and was kind of a little bit hidden. Now we've got direct control for it. So what I'm going to do is play. There we go. We can just hear a sine wave. I'm going to turn this up, which is going to take oscillator 3 and modulate oscillator 1. You can hear that coming in. Change the pitch here. As well, with a lot of the controls on peak and on Summit as well, is that they have multiple sources. So I can now set to mod envelope 2, go to my second mod envelope, and apply some mod envelope to the FM. So you can quickly design FM sounds on this. Also, we've got a new filter. So the filter design is that if you're on 24 dB, it's 2 low-pass filters in a row to make that 24 dB slope. And same with the bandpass, same with the high pass. What we can now do is change it to more, and what comes up is we can feed one of the filters into the other and have them as different types. So currently we've got a low pass going into a high pass. So if I just set this back to a sawtooth, you can hear it's quite thin at the moment, but if I separate these filters with the filter frequency separation, these filters are going to move apart and we can hear that effect and we'll be like widening a bandpass filter. What's really nice is that if I start cranking up the resonance here, you get some really nice vocal effects. And this filter frequency separation is also in the mod matrix. So if I go to the end here, and I'm going to apply an LFO to the filter frequency separation. Let's turn the LFO up. So let's just go back to the more here. As well as having the filters running in series, we can also run them in parallel. So when I go to one which has got a plus, I could have, for example, 2 low-pass filters. So currently, with no separation, it just sounds like a low pass. But what I can do is separate these, and I get this really cool kind of delayed filter effect. Let me just take that separation down a little bit so you can hear it better. So as well as the new filter, we brought out a few things from our Peak 1.2 update. So we've got loopable end floats. We've got a loop switch on Summit. We've also brought out the LFOs 3 and 4, so they've got a dedicated hardware control. And then we've got the standard effects from Peak as well. So that's the chorus, delay, reverb, and distortion. What's really cool is that each part has got its own effects. So you're not sharing the effects between the two layers. They're treated as two individual sections. So the connectivity at the back, what we have, MIDI in, out, and through, stereo out, but we've also got an auxiliary output. And that auxiliary output, you can route your second layer, or you can route your effects, so you can still keep your dry synth signal. As well as that, we've got the stereo audio in, and that can either come route in straight to the effects, or we can route it into the voice as well, so it means you can use the filter. And it's still got the CV in, and a USB as well for connecting, doing MIDI over the computer. Also works as a really good MIDI controller with all the parts giving out different MIDI channels, so it will make a great master keyboard. So it's going to be available in September, and the price is €2,200.